It is 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Welcome to Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. Please help me welcome immediate.
Wait. You didn't play the video.
Welcome to Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. Please
You wanna
play the video?
Yeah, you wanna play the video and then you welcome.
Welcome to Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. Please
You wanna
play the video?
Yeah, you wanna play the video and then you welcome.
Welcome to Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. Problem here. Please
You wanna Can
There we go.
you start again?
Yep, got it fixed.
Can you live stream and then start again, and we'll just delete that one?
Good afternoon. Good morning. Whatever time zone you have.
You want me to?
We can just delete it after. We can edit it afterward, I guess.
Okay, so you want to play the video again? Okay.
Oh, and Carrie's. I'll let Carrie in the waiting room.
Okay, great.
Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning. Whatever time zone you happen to be in, welcome to Leaders Worldwide Online Toastmasters Club. Our club mission: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leaders Worldwide is designed for politicians, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, as well as anyone who wants to make their message heartfelt and authentic. Core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. We are Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters, where leaders are made.
Okay. Are you ready for the welcome message?
Yeah.
Welcome to Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. I am Mike Pruitt, the Zoom host and Sergeant at Arms. Please help me welcome immediate past club president and immediate past district director of Pakistan, 5 times DTM, Talha bin Hamid.
Thank you so much for the wonderful welcome. It is so nice to be presiding over a Leaders Worldwide meeting after such a long time. Truly, this promises to be an absolutely spectacular meeting. But before we can get on with the meeting, it is our duty to have our guests introduce themselves. So why not start with our guest Zoom host? Correct me. Am I audible, everyone?
I didn't hear the guest. Which guest did you want to introduce themselves?
Am I audible?
I can hear you.
Yes, you are. You are audible. Do we have any guests
All
that would like to introduce
All
themselves
right.
at this time?
And I think we have guest Murad Mohammed.
Yes, we have guest Murad.
Schmidt. Is she still here?
Okay, let's move on to guest Murad Mohammed. Please introduce yourself. Yeah.
I guess
Please.
it was Murad Hamid.
She had to leave. She had to leave. Yeah, Murad Mohammed. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mr. Talha, and the other moderators in this beautiful meeting. My name is Murad. I'm from Yemen. I'm living in Saudi Arabia. I'm 38 years of age. I have a bachelor's degree in computer engineering, and it's my first time to join this beautiful session.
Thank you so much, future Toastmaster Murad. And what a beautiful little icebreaker that I hope that you enjoy this session. Thank you so much. And we have our Zoom host as a guest too, but I'm not sure if Mike can hear me. But let's move on to our Toastmaster of the day. A very special person and someone who is not that long in the Toastmasters fraternity, but has made her mark in her hearts and in the Toastmasters community. So everyone, please welcome an integral part of Leaders Worldwide and one of our executive committee members, Toastmaster Cassandra of the day.
Thank you so much for that wonderful
Cassandra.
introduction, Paula. Thank you so much. Thank you, Toastmasters and guests. I appreciate you spending your time with us this morning. Today's meeting theme is For Justice We Stand. For Justice We Stand. At this time, I would like to introduce our grammarian for today, Cynthia Stott. Cynthia, would you please take the podium? Is Cynthia available? If Cynthia is not available at this time, I'd like to.
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
Cynthia.
I forgot that I was grammarian.
Would you please explain your role today as the grammarian?
Okay, just a sec. I need to.
Let me find my phone. I'm on two devices here. I don't know where it is. Wait. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, I'm in two devices, so here I am. Okay. So I am the grammarian today, and our word of the day is jubilant. It means celebration. And I'm going to be counting the ums and ahs and words of the days, and also your verbal gems and germs. What I heard that I loved, and what I heard that doesn't quite match the English language grammar. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you for that, Cynthia. And now I will explain the timing for our speeches today. We have two wonderful speakers today, and their speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes. The timer will display the timing for these speeches. At 5 minutes, we will have the green. At 6 minutes, the timer will display the yellow. And at 7 minutes, the timer will display the red. And then we have 30 seconds to wrap up at that time. And then at that time, we will go to the next speaker, which will have the same time allowed for her speech, 5 to 7 minutes. And the timing will also be the same way with the same coloring system. Green at 5, 6 minutes at yellow, 7 at red, and 30 seconds to wrap up. Back to you, President. Let's see here. And at that time, I'd like to call this first speaker. Let me give you a little bit about Carrie Kelly. Carrie Kelly will be speaking from Visionary Communications, Level 1, Introduction to Vocal Variety. The title of Carrie's speech is Black Excellence. Carrie Kelly, Black Excellence. Let me tell you a little bit about Carrie. Carrie is an author. She is also a child abuse prevention advocate. That's just a little bit of what Carrie wrote here, but I can tell you Carrie is an area director, and she's also on the VPE team here at Leaders Worldwide. So with that, let's taste a listen to Carrie with Black Excellence. Carrie Kelly, Black Excellence. Take it away, Carrie.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and officials. First, let me warn you that my grandchildren are being very exuberant, so you might hear them making noises and things. Today, I wanted to spotlight, because this is Toastmasters and it's all about people who have been able to give us good speeches that move us and actually have been world changing. Let me start with Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was able to give us speeches about 4th of July. What is 4th of July to a Black person? That speech made a huge difference when it comes to the abolition movement of his time. But what we don't hear much about is the Black woman that was so instrumental to Frederick Douglass's life. His first wife, Anna Murray, she was the one who inspired him to want to be a free man. She was born in freedom, so she never was a slave. Her parents were, and her older siblings were, but her and 2 of her younger siblings were already freed. And when she met Frederick Douglass, she was a laundress, and they met while he was working at as a dock worker. And what she did for him was she made him a sailor suit, and she borrowed a freeman's certificate in order for him to gain his freedom. Had she not done any of that, we may not have ever heard from Frederick Douglass. The second person I want to talk about is Martin Luther King. Last month, we all had the pleasure of listening to the last 5 minutes of his I Have a Dream speech, because that is all that Ronald Reagan made sure that America would have a, quote, selective image of Martin Luther King. So we have multiple speeches from Martin Luther King that we never hear. But the other piece of this is the woman that made it possible for his work to be as strong as it was, and that is his wife, Coretta Scott King. She was instrumental and she was basically made for him. She had to fight with racism growing up in her own life. She saw and witnessed a lot of racism in her own life, and she fought against it when she was in college. She was a music major, and she was also the choir director for a church. Now, if you've ever had to be a choir director, you will know what kind of personalities you have to deal with, and there's a lot of ego going on in a choir because everybody thinks they can sing and everybody wants to be the lead singer, or they want to be the loudest one in their section, and on and on and on. And she managed all of that. She fought against racism in her own life. So by the time she married Martin Luther King, she was well equipped to help the movement of civil rights with Martin Luther King. And she was the one who organized a lot of the women that were working behind the scenes to organize the bus boycott. That was the first one that happened in Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. Now, Coretta Scott King actually was born in Alabama. So there's that. And when Martin Luther King went to jail in Birmingham, Alabama, he wrote a letter to the Black clergy that complained about his work and the things that he was doing to gain civil rights for people in Alabama and around the US. Coretta Scott King was a major part of that. She was the one organizing a lot of the women who had to do things behind the scenes to put in place the things that were available to keep order, to keep things moving in that movement. The last person I will highlight is Barack Obama. And we have been here for his speeches and how much of a great orator he was. We also had the front row seat of what his wife and daughters had to go through because he was our first Black president. Michelle Obama
5 minutes.
was subjected to a level of evil that is just unfathomable because she was the first Black first lady. Their daughters went through a lot of ugliness because of them being the first Black children of the first Black president. I just want to leave you with the fact that these women don't get as much recognition as the men do. But had it not been for those women with their work behind these men, we would not be as far along in the civil rights movement as we are. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Let's give Carrie a round of applause for that wonderful, informative speech. Timer, may I have 1 minute on the clock, please?
Sure. One minute is over.
Thank you, timer. You know, this weekend here in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, we celebrated many things here. It was Chinese New Year, the Year of the Dragon. We also celebrated many festivities having to do with Black history. So it was a jubilant weekend here in the Bay Area. And many people celebrated, but we also celebrated for justice. We stand. We stood in justice. We will continue to stand in justice for social economic reasons, for political reasons. There's a number of reasons why people stand for justice. So with this, let's go to our next speaker, Miss DeMarie Shy King. This morning, DeMarie will be speaking from Dynamic Leadership, Level 3, Understanding Vocal Variety. Once again, DeMarie's speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. The title of DeMarie's speech is Shadows of Silhouettes. Let me give you a little bit of information about DeMarie. DeMarie is the area director of 5 clubs in the Bay Area, and she mentored to one club in particular in Manhattan, New York. DeMarie is a 2-time Triple Crown winner of 22-23. She is an author and poet and an advocate of survivors of domestic violence. Having hosted an integral part of the International Summit of Domestic Violence as her DTM project in 2023, she is a candidate for Distinguished Toastmaster for June of 2024. Once again, DeMarie's speech title is Shadows of Silhouettes. DeMarie, Shadows of Silhouettes, Shadows of Silhouettes, DeMarie Shy King. Take it away.
Have you ever thought about the shadow that you cast? Have you ever really considered that your shadow is synonymous with a silhouette? Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guest, I want you to think back with me to when I was a child, because my speech today is a play on words, shadows of silhouettes. We're actually talking about the same thing. But as a child, you may have done the same thing that I did. I was very inquisitive. I would go outside. And as a small child, I remember looking at my shadow on the ground. And I remember hopping this way and I would hop back to see if my shadow would follow me. And guess what? It always did. Then I discovered something else. I was born and raised in the Delta area of Arkansas. And I would go outside, and at that time, high noon was just that, high noon. Now we never know when the sun is going to be at its highest point. because the time is played with one way or the other. We fall back or forward and we don't know. But at that time, at high noon, the sun was in the exact top position. And I would look down on the ground and I didn't see a shadow because the sun was directly above me and I was standing on my shadow. So, what is a shadow? Webster defines it as an image, as an outline that depicts the shape of whatever this thing or person is. But what's on the inside? What is on the inside of that shadow or that silhouette? Is it someone who is authentic? Is it someone that is trustworthy? Is it someone that has integrity? I challenge you to think about the shadow that you cast. As a young person, I found out early in life that my shadow followed me. In terms of what's on the inside, it follows you as well. Because we know the definition of character is the thing that you do when nobody is watching. What do you do when nobody is watching? What kind of shadow are you casting? Is your silhouette depicting this grand, great individual who is whatever they are depicted as on the outside? That's what they are on the inside. Toastmasters tells us that we can work on all these things because Toastmasters has a core set of values. And it starts with integrity, respect, service, and above all, excellence. But my philosophy or my thinking is that once you have attained and acquired integrity, respect, and you're rendering service, the excellence speaks for itself. Shadows of silhouettes. Absolutely, positively, the same thing. So, what does that mean for us? What kind of shadow are you casting? Is there a life goal or a purpose that you're following that would allow you to impact a greater mankind or humankind? Are you passionate about some particular thing that might keep you awake at night? If so, you are casting a shadow. Do you realize that people are watching everything that all of us do on a regular basis? I have a slogan. The life we live is the testimony we give. And what that simply means, translated, we're living out our own destiny. We are deciding what people will say about us when we're no longer here. What is that for you? What kind of shadow are you casting? But I would like to share with you the shadow that I'm casting. In recognition of Black History Month, I would like to share with you an original poem. And the title of that poem is Images of Silhouettes. It was written by a Black author, which is in keeping with Black History Month, and that author is me. I am who I am, and I make no apologies for who I am is me. I am what I am, because that's all that I'm led to be. I am so much more than my space can portray. I feel tall like a mountain, yet I light up like a sunny day. I feel boundless and fluid, like the raging waters of the sea, because I am that which He made me. I feel strong, though sometimes I am weak. I am proud, yet there are times when I am meek. You make me happy, although sometimes I am sad. But in essence, and through it all, I am free. Like a spirit that's never captured, because His spirit lives in me. If I were to say anything else to you today, I would simply say, watch out. your shadow is following you. Madam Timer, Mr. Timer.
Wow. Let's give Dee Marie a hand on that. What a wonderful speech. Timer, may I please get a minute on the clock?
Sure. So,
Thank you. We've heard two amazing speeches. And what brought to mind for me was that they both showed how having a purpose, having a good foundation, showing your passion led to some amazing men and women that led us to changing laws, giving people rights. And it just brings to mind for me that old saying that behind every man, there's a good woman. But I like to change it to modern day. Beside every man, there's a good woman. Because without these wonderful people working together, collaborating together, we wouldn't be where we are today. And that goes for women's rights, civil rights, and so on. And as Dee Marie stated, just knowing who you are as a person and owning and knowing your truth, no matter what appearances of what someone else is saying, you in your heart knowing who you are as a person. So this gives us the opportunity to express what we feel in our table topics. And this is the part of the session where we can do that. So let's move towards in our table topics and let's explain how it works. I will call for one minute for the green, 1.5 the yellow, and 2 minutes at the red. And then you have 30 seconds to wrap it up in the table topics. And this is part of an impromptu type of speaking where you're called upon just to answer a question just right off the cuff. So with that, let's go to Carrie Kelly, who have prepared our questions for the tabletop section. Carrie?
Hello, everyone. So, because our theme is standing for justice, I chose my table topics questions around the justice movements. So I would like to call on, well, let me see. I'm supposed to call on people who don't have a role or they are guests.
Well, maybe you could start with Mike.
Okay, Mike.
He has a role though, but that would be great.
Okay, Mike. Let's start with, who do you think of when you think of the justice movement and why?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. One person that I think of is Medgar Evers. I was very interested to read his biography. He grew up in Mississippi and he served in World War II, and his goal was to go to college, but he was asked to work for the NAACP, who was trying to make some changes in Mississippi, which was just outrageous in not allowing justice for Black people. And so Medgar Evers drove all around the state and tried to get people to vote. And just to register to vote was putting your life at risk if you were African American. And one thing that's really interesting is that he did a lot of work in Jackson, Mississippi, and there was a young man who was kind of his protege who was going to high school in Jackson, Mississippi, and he joined the young persons group of the AACP and NAACP, and he was expelled from high school because of it. And you might know this gentleman. His name is Amos Brown. He is pastor of I think it's the Third Baptist Church in San Francisco. Very famous man. And he was actually friends with Medgar Evers when he was in high school, which led him to do his work towards justice. And eventually Medgar Evers was murdered. Tragedy, same thing as Martin Luther King, but he was a very strong person and really moved the justice movement in Mississippi forward. And Amos Brown is one of his proteges. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much for that. Oh, I really appreciate that one. So I think I'm going to direct my second question to Cynthia Stott. Cynthia, what would you say is the most important trait a leader has to have in order to be that strong, to put your life on the line for justice?
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Many of you know I talk to God and he talks back. And I often have talked to him about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I remember about 10 years ago, I asked God, how could he continue with his work when his family was threatened? It's one thing if he knew, because he knew that he was going to die. He knew he was going to be martyred. But how could he do what he needed to do when his children and his wife were at risk? And God told me something very interesting. At least that's what he said to me in my inner voice, in my intuition, that he had a covenant with Dr. King, that his family would be protected, that his wife and his children would be protected. He would not be, he would die. And he knew that. And God kept that promise for his family. His children and his wife survived. And so I think the hardest thing, the best character is integrity. You have to determination and integrity to do what you're meant to do, even if you don't know exactly how to do it or even what you're supposed to do, but you just know you need to do something. And I think Dr. King was the best example of that. And his, I will say, sacrifice, because he knew he was going to be dead. He knew he would not make it to the promised land. But his dream, he had to share and make sure it survived for his legacy. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much. Now, do we have time for one more, or
Yes.
do we? Okay.
And Jaya Raghuwansky is our guest.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps they would like to answer a question. I don't know.
Very good evening.
Good evening.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with her audio. Is that okay? I mean, would you like a question?
Yeah, sure. I'll try.
Oh, okay. Tell me, okay, the last question will be, name a woman that is prominent in your life that spurs you on to always do the right thing.
Yeah.
Jaya, can you put your video on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not in a position.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very late at night for her, probably. Yeah. Audio.
Thank you for this question. The truth is, there are so many women that I have come across and heard about who are very inspirational for me. And when I feel low, when I feel so hopeless, I read the quotes, I read the story about them, their lives. They inspire me so much. Example, first would be Mother Teresa, who has given all her life to the poor, helping them. And what struggle she has gone through. Similar, there are other women who have become entrepreneurs later in life, a widow or who had a family problem, and a divorcee who gave all their life and went out there and became a businesswoman. And There are women who have special needs, autistic children, and how they have struggled and they have opened centers just because of their children. These women inspire me so much. And not only that, our own mothers, they are so inspirational. They will never allow you to go on a wrong path. They will guide you. They will bang their heads to, give you lectures, advice, and throughout your life. And I'm so grateful that it keeps myself moving when I feel so hopeless in my own struggle in life. And when I feel down, the next moment I just get up, stand up, and you know, get myself together and face my problem, face the world. So yeah, all these women are very inspirational and prominent in my life. Back to you.
Thank you so much. And this is the end of our table topics session. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Awesome table topic session. Wow. And thank you to all of our respondents to Carrie's questions for table topics. You all did an awesome job. And now I would like to invite our general evaluator up to the podium to give her assessment of our meeting. DeMarie, you may take it away.
Hello, everyone. It has certainly been an inspiring meeting. And as the general evaluator, I will start with the evaluation section by inviting the timer to describe the time for the evaluations.
Thank you so much. Timings for evaluations are as such. Evaluation is timed at 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, you'll see the green signal. At 2.5 minutes, you'll see the yellow. At 3, you'll see the red. And when you see red, it means that you have 31 seconds to wind your presentation. As per the contest rules, you get disqualified at the 31st second. But better not go there and finish well before that. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that explanation. So there has been a slight change in our schedule, and it appears that I will be the first evaluator to evaluate Carrie Kelly. Carrie Kelly, oh my goodness. Black excellence. You combine that with the word excellence, which is one of the core values for Toastmasters. But you gave us a look at 3 different Black men. And it was amazing how you rolled that into the fact that you wanted us to really look at 3 different Black women, because you wanted us to see how the women behind the men had made an impact on society, but most importantly, on the man's life. You started out with Frederick Douglass and his wife, Anna Murray. I never heard that story before. I am a prolific reader and knowledgeable of Frederick, but not his spouse. So that was very good to know. But that she was a free woman when she met him, and she helped him to obtain his freedom. That was amazing. That was amazing. Then you talked about Martin Luther King Jr. Now, we all know that Coretta Scott King played a very pivotal role in everything that he was doing. I didn't know how much organizing she had been doing with women in the community to help with the movement, because that's always important. If everybody is pulling together, whatever your purpose or goal is, stands a better chance of succeeding. So you had us to understand how she was the woman behind the scenes as she worked to help him. and that she had dealt with racism herself. Even before the movement started, she had dealt with racism and found a way to still organize women to stand up for what they believed in. Then you led us to a pinnacle of times and events, and that was the election of the first Black president, Barack Obama. And you talked about how Michelle Obama and his daughters were the subjects of all kinds of retribution, racial hatred, mistreatment. But out of that came a saying, when they go low, we go high. And that was Michelle's signature statement when things happened. She was the first Black female first lady, and her daughters were the first Black female children to be in the White House. So that in itself was tremendous. I thank you for shedding light on what it looks like when the man and the woman in his life work together. That's what I got out of that. If I were to offer any stretch goals at all, I think that saying that I just quoted about Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high, that might be a good one to incorporate into your presentation, because that became a benchmark across the nation, around the world, that people just gravitated to. But other than that, the information was wonderful, and I really learned a lot myself. Thank you so much, Carrie. Back to you.
And now for the evaluation on the second one.
Hello there. Oh,
No, I was just going to say thank you, Cassandra.
You're welcome.
so Dee Marie. Oh my goodness. I remember doing a lot of the same things, trying to chase my shadow or step on it. It never occurred to me about the high noon, though. I never got that part, but I loved that you brought that up. I also loved how you wove in the character of the person and what it looks like when no one else is watching. How are you being? What are your intentions when no one else is watching? And how you brought the core values of Toastmasters into all of this. That when you have integrity as your first primary goal or focus, everything else falls into place. That is so key to me. If I had any critique, boy, it's really hard. It's really hard to find one, but I think vocal variety might have to be a part of it. Like maybe showing some childlike voice vocal variety when you're talking about how you hopped around or play with your shadow or whatever. I think that might have helped. That would have been fine. Other than that, I like the speech as is, and there's not a whole lot that I could say to improve it. So I'm done talking now. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate that. I think that when we all go as far as we can to construct a meaningful presentation, it's always gratifying and rewarding that the evaluator sensed how much work and effort was put into writing the speech. At this time, I would like to call on the functionaries. And I'd like to get my first report from the grammarian, and that is Cynthia Stott.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I am not an expert grammarian, and Sally just called me and she might hop on, but will do my best. I looked at it more like an evaluator, hearing some great phrases and yeah. So our word of the day I only heard it once from Cassandra, jubilant, and I heard Carrie say exuberant, which is close to jubilant, and she could have used that word instead. I said I didn't hear many ums or ahs or filler words. I didn't hear any really, but I heard some great phrases and words. Number one, all the speakers that spoke people's names that I hadn't heard and giving them presents. Medgar Evers, I think I had heard of him, but I did not know that he was assassinated. I should have known that. He should have been more prominent in my mind for me to pick that up. And that was from Mike Pruitt, and he also talked about Amos Brown. And you said he was the pastor of the Third Baptist Church in San Francisco, and that was my sister church to my church, was the First Baptist Church of San Francisco. So I didn't know how prominent he was. I definitely heard his name when I was growing up, but I didn't know how prominent he was. So this was just enlightening, and I loved all the words that our speakers used. Carrie with Black Excellence being her title, and Shadows of Silhouettes for the title for Dee Marie. I thought those were just juicy words already. And then the juicy words that were used in the poetry that Dee Marie read, recited. That was really juicy words. And then how Jaya spoke and said that she's so many inspirational women. I thought that was a great phrase. And my own struggle I face in the world. I thought that was just so poignant, those words. So it was a really great meeting, awesome, juicy words, and a great takeaways to learn from. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Madam Grammarian. And at this time, I would like to call on Tala Ben Hamed so that he can give us the timers report. Tala.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Here's the timing report today. For today, first of all, we started a few minutes late, but we more than made up for it because it's barely 1 hour and we are at the end of the meeting. So congratulations, everyone, on running an exceptionally tight ship today. In the prepared speakers, Carrie Kelly spoke for 6 minutes, 37 seconds. Dee Marie spoke for 5 minutes and 39 seconds. And I'm absolutely astounded that in both the speeches were veered towards the shorter end of the spectrum, but they delivered so much. So congratulations, both of you. For the table topics, Mike spoke for 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Cynthia spoke for 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Our guest, Jaya, exceeded the time by 1 second, so 2 minutes 31. I'm sure that she will stay within time next time, although we couldn't have enough of her beautiful topic speech. As far as the evaluations are concerned, Dee Marie spoke for 3 minutes and 9 seconds, and Carrie spoke for just 1 minute and 48 seconds, which is below the minimum time of an evaluation. But by God, she covered all the aspects of the speech she was evaluating. So kudos on that. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Tala, for your timers report. And as you can see, he says we have run a tight ship today. I think that is probably true, okay? But now I will give my general evaluator's report. And I'd like to say that the meeting has been phenomenal. With a small number of people present, we've covered all the bases, did all the things, and anyone that would come in from the outside could see the professionalism, could see the enthusiasm, could see the planning. They could see how we put everything that we had into making sure that we did a good job today. And we did start on time, Tala, because I was watching the clock. But the problem was we restarted. We started on time and then we restarted.
Yeah.
So that we could get the recording. Yes. to get the recording correct. And I just wanted to make that notation. We had Cynthia to step up and take on the grammarian's role since Sally was not here. Tala, our past president, has done a wonderful job as the timer and holding down the space for our president, which is great. The title or the theme for today, For Justice We Stand. That title was demonstrated in so many different ways. And justice doesn't always have to mean a lawyer, a judge, and a courtroom. There are all kinds of ways that we can stand for justice. And one of the best ways we found out here today is just to be your authentic self. Just to be your authentic self. Because when you're called upon to answer the call for whatever it is, you may not do it jubilantly, but if you're just your authentic self, you are putting yourself in line to help lead the justice movement, to be a part of what's just and what's right. So I think the theme had us to do some soul searching and some thinking. And I fully intended to use the word jubilant when I talked about the child outside running around with her shadow. And I was so focused on getting the points of my speech out, I forgot about jubilant. So I'm jubilant over that. But it has been a wonderful meeting, and I want to thank everyone for taking part and knowing that at Leaders Worldwide, as in Toastmasters International, relationships are what matters. Forming meaningful and impactful relationships. And one of the best ways to do that is to be a team player. To simply be a team player. Hold up your end of the responsibility, and everybody else will do theirs. And I now turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much for that, Dee Marie. And I want to thank all of our role players today for participating, for being here, and just sharing your time with us. We've all gathered here in this space to share our ideas, to share our time, and just to commune together. So with that, I turn it back over to our president for our departing words. Tala.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. What a phenomenal meeting we had today. It was inspiring in so many ways. First of all, the theme, the Black History Month, and the speeches. But above all, as already pointed out, we were only 7 today, but never for a minute did it feel that we were only 7. And that is a hallmark of an amazing meeting, that every role was so well done. People took up multiple roles, and it was truly a rewarding experience. There's one thing I'm fond of saying at Leaders Worldwide: every time you leave the meeting a changed person. And today it is as true as ever, because we listened to the speeches, we contemplated, we introspected, and we are leaving, hopefully, as better people, more educated, better equipped to adjust, to address the inequalities and the injustices all around us. So thank you so much for that enlightenment, especially thank you, our prepared speakers and our table topic speakers. Now it is 1 a.m. my time, so I'll be taking your leave, but not before taking comments from our guests. So first, our wonderful Zoom host today, Toastmaster Mike, your comments about the meeting.
Thank you, Talha. I enjoyed the meeting. I enjoyed Cassandra's work as Toastmaster and Dee Marie's speech and her work as General Evaluator. I always enjoy listening to Carrie Kelly. The first time I heard her speak, I had to go right on to Amazon and buy one of her books. So I wanted to read about her, and when I read about her, I was inspired. all the things that she had gone through and overcame, and how positive and happy she is. And she's a good role model to me. So I also appreciate your work, Talha. I have never heard of anyone being a 5 times Toastmaster. Oh my goodness. If I can ever get to be a 1-time Toastmaster, I will be happy. And Cynthia, thank you for all your work in helping me prepare for this so that I could be part of it, and for all your work as a division director and helping our club, Vision Masters, which everyone here seems to be part of that. Cassandra, Carrie, Dee Marie, you've all been helping with Vision Masters where I'm a club coach. So I really appreciate your help. So back to you.
And Mike, you're welcome back here anytime, please. It's always open. The door's always open to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mike. And yes, I have not been fortunate enough to have attended Vision Masters meeting myself, but I read so much about it. I feel as if I'm attending all the meetings. So absolutely phenomenal job there by the club coaches and club management. Someday I will be sure to drop in. And next, we had a very musical voice today, guest Jaya Raghuvanshi. Please share your thoughts about the meeting.
Yeah. Finally, I got a chance to attend today. It was because of time difference, I tend to miss it. But luckily, I joined today, and thanks for the giving table topics, which is very important part of the meeting, and it helps members as well as guests to improve their table topics. And this is what uh, you know important to me, to practice table topics, and that's why I hop to different Toastmaster club. And yes, I'm glad that I attended today.
Thank you so much. Trust me when I say that we are happier that you attended today. Thank you so much for attending. And I will take my leave, and I'll request our dear Cynthia Stott to hand out the chocolates or sweets or whatever you've decided to hand out today. Would that be okay, Cynthia?
Yeah, absolutely. But Cassandra is our VPE, and she's running the after party.
Oh, yeah.
Back to her.
Yeah, sure. Lovely. Back to Cassandra. And if since I'm interested in saving my marriage and having a bed to sleep tonight, so I'll take all of your leave today. Thank you so much. And see you all in the next meeting. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to be going into our after party, Mike. So I guess you can stop it now, stop recording, and we'll take the after party. Do we have enough of our members here to go into that, Cynthia? I didn't see the participants.
Do we have so Mike, can you end the